Stream of 2024.
Look at that. We're live.
We're live.
I have no idea if there's anybody in here. I'm waiting for the live thing to go away and tell us if there's any viewers. I don't think there's any viewers. Anyways, 5 people in. Yay, we got 5 people in on the show. Look at that. How's it going after post-Christmas glow and everything? You know what? So I was hanging out with Dylan a little earlier today. I forgot to ask you, how was your Christmas, dude?
That's funny. Like, we talk about literally everything else. It was quiet. You know what? Christmases these days are pretty quiet, but it's kind of nice. You know, we had a number of years where Christmases were just manic, insane, just shitloads of people all the time. And yeah, now it's just kind of settled down, just me and the fam.
SR375, how's it going? Also, Beresford, Happy New Year, buddy. Ours was actually manic and insane. It was ridiculous. It was a lot of running around. There was a lot of crap going on. Very happy to be home. Very happy to be kind of back in my space. New Year's Eve was a lot of fun, but still, that's also another one where it's like, oh my God, I just need to like relax and let everything kind of cool off.
Well, see, that's what's nice. So I took 2 weeks. I took the week of Christmas, which I was at my folks' place in rural Ottawa. And then this week I've had off, and so I've just been relaxing.
Nice.
Like I feel bad every day. Like my girl comes home and she's like, she's telling me about her crazy day because she works in childcare, and she's like, oh, this happened and this happened. She's like, what did you do today? I'm like, nothing.
No. Yeah, the same. My wife, who's a midwife, and she's at a birth for like 24 hours straight. She's doing all this crazy stuff. And she's like, well, how was your day? I'm like, oh yeah, I made a video about something.
You almost don't even want to talk about it. That's how
it's a little embarrassing. It's like, yeah, I made some fart jokes on a stream. So there was that. So yeah, it's a little rough. New Year's Eve was season 1 of Strange New Worlds. Strange New Worlds. Oh, okay. So Strange New Worlds is a new Star Trek. Yeah, I love Strange New Worlds. That is my favorite Star Trek so far. I don't think I loved or still love the Discovery. That is a great show, but it doesn't it's not Star Trek really. It doesn't feel like Star Trek. Yeah. Discovery feels like it's a different I don't know. It kind of felt like Deep Space Nine. Deep Space Nine didn't feel like Star Trek either. But it's still, it's still within the universe. It's still a lot of fun. But Strange New Worlds is just, that's a great show. Go back and watch the reboot of Star Trek with Chris Pine and all that. Yeah. It's interesting after watching Strange New Worlds and then watching that reboot, how they kind of everything's like deviating from the timeline. It's kind of cool. Love fart jokes. Yeah, right. Red Cabin, Happy New Year's. Thanks, buddy. Yeah, so for Christmas I got myself a light. Can I get this in shot? Can I get this? Yeah, look, I got a light.
Let's see this. Nice.
Yeah. See this?
The big, like, how many sides is that? That's not even an octagonal softbox. That's like I don't even want to know.
It's got a bunch.
That's a dodecahedron softbox.
It's my fill light. So I've been using up until this point, I've been using still my old LED floodlight for my fill. The problem is with using an old LED floodlight is there's no control. One, like you can't like turn down anything on it, but you also the temperature on it was pretty cold. Like it wasn't a very warm light. This one is daylight. So it's not warm, it's not cold, it's just daylight, which I like. 5600K. Same thing with my main key light, which is 5600K. I'm perfectly happy with this. This was my Christmas present to myself, and I bought a watch. I got the what do they call it? I
didn't even know. I mean, I guess it makes enough sense. I didn't even know that Samsung made like wearables.
They're not very good. To be perfectly honest, like it's nice. My wife has the Apple Watch and it trashes the Samsung Watch.
Well, honestly, so now I got a Fitbit Versa 3 and it's okay. It does everything I needed to, which is mostly nothing. But I had the first generation Apple Watch and it was terrible. The battery bloated and the screen popped off. Like it was stupid. But now, like my buddy out in Winnipeg has the like an Apple Watch Series 3 or 4 or something, and it's like they're amazing now. Like Apple one thing I've learned Apple over the years is they don't trust their first gen tech, but they generally listen and pay attention, and what
Yeah.
doesn't work, they'll fix.
It's okay. Like it does all the things I want it to do, but it's not as intuitive. That's for sure. Yeah, like SR375. They make great washer, dryers, stoves, refrigerators. Yeah, it's just I don't know. I
Again,
wanted a smart for
there's that-
working out. I wanted this.
Yeah, there's a saying in South Korea, right? There's the three things in life that are unavoidable: death, taxes, and Samsung. And
Yeah.
if you go to South Korea, Samsung literally owns like all the property, like apartment buildings, hospitals. Like they have taken over that country. It's crazy.
Well, you might as well.
They're basically royalty, that company. It's wild.
Yeah, Liberty Dude just said the same thing. Samsung owns South Korea commerce. They are into everything. Yeah. Bloody Cactus, UPS forgot to leave any SSL or API gear on my porch this Christmas. Well, that's rude. Not even UPS. What about Santa? Like, come on, Santa.
Yeah, come on.
I sat on your lap and asked for things. I'm used to getting things when I ask when I'm sitting on your lap. Anyways. Yeah, Christmas was like I got a few things. I ordered a few things. I'm getting the Elgato teleprompter or the Elgato prompter. That thing looks wicked. So, for example, where I'm addressing the camera right now, this is hard because Dylan's down here. So that's why you have me looking down here all the time. The Elgato will I'll be able to see Dylan right in front of me in front of the camera there. That's cool. One of the things I'm looking forward to because it basically mirrors the screen and you can have chat up on the screen, all that stuff. I'm looking forward to that, but they're out of stock. So I'm going to actually try to reach out to them on social media and see what they have to say. Cause I would really like that. SR375, no Neve gear either. Yeah, that's pretty sad. What do you get for Christmas, Dylan?
I got a new kit bag. I've been looking for. Here's the thing: I can't drive, medical reasons, so I got to walk everywhere. And so what I found these days is finding a good, like hefty, girthy, stores a lot of stuff backpack is not easy anymore. You go into most like luggage stores, you either get the rolly bags or you get a shoulder bag. And like, you know, I think I had you hold that laptop that I have and carrying that and all the rest of my, like I got an interface in there. I got an H5. I've got like a bunch of stuff in my kit bag that I have to bring to work every day and walk, 5 kilometers. And so it's nice to be able to balance that across my shoulders. And so, yeah, I got for Christmas, a $250, like a nice backpack.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You need to spend the money on those backpacks.
Yeah, but it's worth it. Honestly, it's worth it.
Elite Nishan says, why is no one liking the stream? Good question, Elite. Great question. Then I do have to say, Liberty Dude, Aiden loves giving Santa lap dances for special gifts. I will do lap dances for special gifts. Maybe that's a members only thing. Maybe I'll make that part of the channel membership thing. I have launched, by the way, we have the audio channel set up. I don't have Discord on this computer.
Say hello to IT's new.
What in God's name are you doing over there?
Oh, I was going so I could like the stream and it played an ad.
I do have the audio set up for channel members, audio chat. We're probably going to be doing it a couple times a month. Maybe looking at like around the middle and the end of the month. I think that would be kind of fun, or maybe the beginning, the middle, who knows? And it'll just be channel members. You can come into the members only champagne room on Discord, and you can chat on the voice channel. And it would be kind of a nice way just to hang out. This is kind of weird meta behind the scenes stuff. I was talking with my son, and one of the things, the irony of what I'm about to tell you is, this channel was launched because my son was moving in with me, and I launched this channel thinking we could do a YouTube channel together. And when this happened, he was like, nah, YouTube's dying, man. I'm not launching no channel with you. And so it's hilarious because I'm like, well, I started getting views on a video. So I'm like, I'll just keep going. And it just snowballed into what it is. So now I was talking to my son over Christmas, and I'm like, yeah, so I've always wanted to start a gaming channel. And he's like, oh my God, I want to start a gaming channel too. So I'm actually probably going to be starting a game streaming channel separate from this. and I'm probably only going to do it like late Friday and Saturday night, but somehow incorporating that and bringing people in and chatting that way might be a lot of fun. Might just do Baldur's Gate 3, but I think
Nice.
that'll be kind of fun. But this time I think he's going to go forward with it and actually start a YouTube channel, which is kind of cool.
Well, I mean, he's got you to bounce ideas off of too, which is it really helps to have somebody that's kind of already in it. Like even I've sort of been leaning on. Well, I have been leaning on you a bunch for a lot of stuff that I've been thinking about, and it helps.
So Liberty Dude says, thanks for the dance, Aiden. Now I don't have as much jiggle in the chest anymore because I've been working out. But hey, that's you're welcome for the gift. Liberty Dude, cheers. Thanks for the super chat. And Bangs, shake her like a bowl full of jelly for me, Aiden. I still got a little bit of jelly south of the boobs. Don't worry. I still got some good shake in that bowl. Let's just put it that way. Working on it, but for now, hey man, I could be a belly dancer. Thank you once again, Bangs, for that that super chat. I appreciate it. I can't believe I said those things on stream. Something I say almost every week. The chest can be fixed silicone. That's SR275. I wouldn't leave the house. I mean, yeah, but maybe we'll talk. I need more super chats if that's going to happen.
don't remember what happened the last time we did that.
Zip Fizz ended up happening.
Yeah, I say remember what happened the last time we joked about that is
why did we get boobs? Well, we crowdsourced it. I have a BM800 with the V8 sound card. Thoughts? That's Elite Nissan. Huh. What is a BM800?
Yeah.
I gotta look up a BM800. I'll do it. Just
got a question, Aiden. Are sound cards still a thing?
No.
I was gonna say because you one of two things, right? Because back in the day, before like interfaces were affordable, like we're talking like MBox 2 era, you either like if and also on chip audio wasn't a thing yet. Like now we got motherboards with 7.1 surround sound like built into the motherboard. So I would be interested to see. I would be interested to do a search and see if like actual like PCI Express sound cards are still a thing.
I know like the last time I remember hearing about those things was back when you needed this specific sound card to run Pro Tools and stuff like that. But for professional stuff, there are sound cards still. Like there are still sound cards you actually have to slot in.
I guess the SSL MX4, which is a MADI sound card, technically would qualify as a sound card, although it's really just a way for the motherboard to interface with the converter. That's all.
Especially if you want multi-channel, like extreme multi-channel. Yeah.
So I remember what was the last back in the day, what was the last sound card that you bought that you remember buying?
Sound Blaster. Oh, I can't remember what it was. Sound Blaster something.
See, I had my last one was the Creative, which was the big company back then.
Yeah.
The Creative Sound Blaster XFI card, which was kind of at that point the hallmark of their lineup because it had like an external piece, basically an interface that plugged in and allowed you. It had a built-in phono amplifier. Had a guitar input, all that kind of stuff. And I guess that was kind of the precursor to like professional rack mount interfaces and stuff. It's kind of interesting to look at the evolution of that stuff.
All right, really quick. Elite Nissan. I have the BM800, the V8 sound card. Those are going to be a decent starter. You're going to want to upgrade as you go. They are very, very entry level, both of them, the BM800 and the V8. That's something that if you're just streaming and you're streaming some games and you're chatting on stream, those things are going to do you perfectly fine. Whether or not the V8 plays well is beyond me. A lot of those things that are basically knockoffs, much like the V8, where there's no actual like brand associated with it. Those can be problematic after a time. I usually do recommend spending a little bit more money to actually get a brand name on stuff. Because if something breaks, who do you call when there's no brand name on it? The Behringer Euphoria interface is a little dated as well. This is something he asked a little further down here. The Euphoria interface is a little bit dated. There are better options at around the $100 price point. The Arturia Mini Fuse is actually pretty decent as well. So maybe just up your expectations just a little bit more. And I do have to bring this up. Liberty Dude, super chat, $20. I appreciate this. I have no idea what it's referring toward. The Dylan buying a Sherpa assistant. What's going on with you needing a Sherpa assistant? Do you need I don't. Do you Sherpa? Are you climbing a hill? That's what Sherpas are for, aren't they?
I am uneducated on the art of Sherpaing,
Okay.
so I cannot lend any insight
Maybe
into this.
Sharpie? I don't know. Anyways, Liberty Dude.
I think that's somebody telling me they want me to wear a Sherpa on the stream. Which, hey, if you pay for it, I'll do whatever the hell you want. I'll dance like a monkey. I don't give a shit.
Dylan does do things for money. I'm just saying.
Zip Fizz, Exhibit A.
Exhibit A, Zip Fizz. Yeah, no limit external bits, SR375 to the sound card. When you hook a sound card directly to your motherboard, you have a lot better latency. Like your latency is going to be minimal.
The bandwidth. I mean, that was the reason why I looked into a PCI solution. Number one, Maddie's fiber optic. So real quick, no interference potential at all. And number two, what's at the other end of the fiber optic? Oh yeah, a PCI Express bus with ridiculous throughput.
Yeah.
Like
Elite Nishan, thanks a lot. Currently 12:23 in the morning. I gotta head to bed. Have a great rest and rest of your stream, brother. Have a good sleep, buddy. Thanks for coming out. And Red Cabin clears it up. Red Cabin, thank you for actually paying attention. Unlike us, it's to carry your stuff.
Oh,
so yeah, instead of a backpack, you can get a Sherpa assistant. That's actually a decent idea. I wonder if you could hire out for that, somebody to just carry your stuff for you. That would
I mean, at that point, I might as well just Uber everywhere because
yeah, you could probably afford a few things. Yeah, he Sherpas carry your shit while you act like you're doing all the work.
I'll put it this way: I am. My company has one employee at the moment. If employee number two, I would not engage for the purposes of carrying my stuff. Or I have a lot of other things I could use help with.
Part of it, though, you're like, here, hold this.
Yeah.
Or you could, instead of getting a human backpack mule, you get just a mule. I mean, you would be one of the only ones in Ottawa with one.
Honestly, you know what? You know, one of the coolest things. So and this is kind of neat because people don't talk about this because it's kind of a niche industry stuff. But so professional mixing engineers,
yeah,
like guys that mix songs all day, every day, like Chris Lord-Alge, prime example.
Yeah,
they have pre-mixers, and their job is literally just to like consolidate all the audio in the session, clean shit up, add microfades on everything, label the files properly in the session. I'm like, man, if I had enough money where I could literally just pay someone to do all the shit like that I don't want to do. Like
every job has those though, right? Like every job has
those little things that are just a nuisance.
It sets it up so you can do your magic.
Right?
Yeah. Makes you wonder how you get that job.
Yeah, literally.
Red has a ton more class and articulation. Yeah, Red Cabin. I think you got yours across pretty well there, Liberty Dude. I appreciate that. Human backpack mule is probably going to be some sort of business idea I can get out of that. I'm pretty sure.
Human backpack mule.
I'm an old fart. Labels were not a thing. What a blessing. Yeah, labels. Gotta love that. The idea of hiring somebody though, just to act as a backpack, this is stuff that, especially in like creative industries, when you start in media, you're basically a human mule. Yep. Like you're doing all the things, you're grabbing coffee, you're doing all that stuff. So it wouldn't be that far fetched, dude.
No, I mean, it's a good. I mean, obviously, if you're an intern at like a video production house, what are you probably going to be doing? Carrying the shit. But it's a good way to get contacts and to start networking, right?
I've considered getting an intern because technically I can now. Like I could, for anyone that's wondering, we know people within media broadcast, the schooling. And as far as I'm concerned, and this is going to sound really bitter, I think I would be able to teach more in an internship than most of the radio stations or TV stations teach at internships. The internships at TV stations and radio stations are dog shit.
And honestly, most radio stations aren't even doing internships anymore. Like I keep seeing posts on the big Canada broadcast group where like interns are desperate, like, because as you and I know, to go through the program that we went through, you need an internship.
Yep.
And so there's people that are desperate because none of the big companies have everyone's operating skeleton crews. So nobody has the time to babysit an intern. It's unfortunate, but it's just the reality.
That's the thing, like babysitting an interns can still do stuff without babysitting. Like
It's true, but you got to delegate the work, and like there is and again, if you're operating a skeleton crew with people that are just packed, like it's
you barely like your job now.
yeah. Well, and meanwhile, you've sort of got to manage somebody else's workload more or less.
Unleash Jeremy Hansen. How's it going, buddy? My wife got me a second Lot and Audio LS208 for a guest mic for Christmas. Keep your wife. That is a good wife, buddy. That is a
nice.
that is a nice mic to get, the LS208.
Nice. Yeah. We know.
Yeah.
I mean, YouTube doesn't, judging by that view count, but we do.
That's depressing. We still have to do some stuff with the lot and pack that we got, but we'll get around to that. We've got some stuff coming up, hopefully to include certain companies. Can't confirm anything yet, but we do have some fun stuff coming up soon. Yeah, we'll talk more about that as I think I've got to hear back on Monday. I also got I put a note out to Yamaha to work with their DM3. Have you seen this, the DM3?
I've seen it. Yep.
So let's get to a couple comments here, and then I'll look up the DM3. Actually, Google that. Unleash Jeremy Hansen said she is awesome. That yes, any wife that buys you a Lot and Audio LF208 is awesome. That's not the only thing that makes them awesome, but that does help. SR375 interns, you learn how all the bits are connected and the process flows. Nobody teaches a complete pipeline anymore. Nope. And so the worst part in media, I don't know if anyone here is like works in media, but a lot of the part of media, and it was always described as the learning curve is like this at the beginning. Okay, so you go from 0 to 100 almost instantly. You're just learning so much information on how to create content. And then it kind of levels off for a good couple of years. And in those couple of years, you literally have to gallop. You have to work towards getting better and better and better and better. Your on-screen presence or your on-mic presence, all that stuff. And I was reminded of that actually this week. A friend of ours that Dylan and I went to school with, a girl, remember Vanessa, Dylan?
Yes.
Yeah, so she put out a video talking about how she was leaving her job she was at.
Yep, I see it.
Holy crap, she sounds good.
Yeah, you
gotta be kidding me.
I thought the same thing because I remembered like back the first couple air checks that I remember hearing, like when our prof used to play them in class, and then hearing her chops now, like she's honed her craft big time.
It's ridiculous how good she sounds. Like I remember she was tailing us. She had an internship, and I think she even got a job at Bob FM when I was out of Brockville. I was the morning show host there.
Yep, yeah, she worked at Bob.
So she worked there. It was a lot of shit happened all at the same time.
And then her and I worked for the same company for a bit because she was in Timmins. And then we kind of connected through that, and I got her to voice a few things. And I remember first I didn't know that she was voicing them, and I got these things back. I'm like, what announcer is this? I don't know this voice. And then I like reached out to the producer, and she was like, oh yeah, that's Vanessa. I'm like, what?
You got it. So I did tell her to reach out to you, by the way, just so you know. I told her to reach out to get some ideas. Let's get to some comments here really quick. Yamaha is king on automation on cruise ship show automation. I did not know that. That's actually pretty cool. And this is the one I really wanted to get to, Dylan. Can you read this screen? It says, how much to get Dylan to dye his hair fire engine red? I'm going to say Dylan's cheap.
I'm going to say I will need to consult the upper echelons of power that reside at this residence to conjure a price point for that.
Okay, so I'm not against... One second. Dylan, you're on the hot seat here. So how much do you think you could get?
Oh my God. I don't know. It depends how much of a narcissist I am, I guess.
What do you think you can get her up to, though? Come on, you're on the hot seat.
Oh, she just got home. That's hilarious. $1,000 maybe.
So she would need you to
send me $1,000.
She would need you to make $1,000 to dye your hair red. Man, your wife is expensive.
No, I mean, I'm
Wow.
setting that price
Come
out of my arse.
Yeah.
Um,
You're like, I need $1,000.
it
I
depends
would
it depends how much she likes the color, I guess.
I would dye any of my hair fire engine
I
red
was gonna
for
say
like 20
you
bucks.
dyed your beard blue for nothing.
That was my child. No, that's my kid, man.
That's invaluable. There's no value you could tie to
Right?
that.
Unleash Jeremy Hansen. It's amazing how a good audio engineer can take audio that's good, make it spectacular. It's truly an art. You know what? Go watch Hurt that we have on our channel. It's a cover of Hurt. The audio I sent Dylan was not special.
I thought it was okay.
It was okay, but it sounds a whole lot better than okay. Well, and to be perfectly fair, like we're using SM58s to record a song, it's not going to blow your mind. The audio is not going to be like, oh my God.
No, but you can polish it a certain. Well, it's funny. You and I talked about that earlier when you were here about how, like, I don't know if anyone here saw that there was a video on Facebook or on YouTube that was like, multi-million-dollar cinematographer uses an iPhone to shoot like a short film, and then a novice uses 10 grand in camera equipment to shoot a short film. And as a novice, you can get good quality things. The difference is when you're a professional, you don't need as much to get good quality things.
Well, what you're doing.
Yeah. Well, again, it's like, I showed you the audio earlier that I for camera audio, I was using a pencil mic. And because I didn't feel like going to the trouble of getting a shotgun mic at this juncture, and it sounded fine. That totally would work. No problem.
Yep. Oh, and yeah, it's the pencil mic it's a P170, man. That thing's awesome.
It's $100 pencil mic. And, it's for camera audio. It sounds way better than a lot of the crap I've heard on YouTube in some cases. And there's no processing on it. So like when you're a professional, technique and placement, and same thing with cameras. I mean, if you know how to set up a camera properly and the exposure triangle, and you've got all those things nailed in your head, you can get some really good shots on a really cheap, like $500 kit. Yeah. I say really cheap. That's $500 for a lot of people. It's not really cheap, but
Camille says Happy New Year, by the way. Happy New Year, Camille.
Happy New Year.
Cheers, buddy. Yeah, no, it's true. It's funny because I went in to buy this light for Christmas, this light that I got, and I walked into Vistech, which is not necessarily the go-to place for camera gear, but Henry's is, but I don't like the people at Henry's. So I go to Vistech and I walk in there and I usually pull up my phone. I go to one of my videos and I say, this is what I want to upgrade. This light here, X, I want this to be better. And I pulled up my phone, started the video, and the first thing the guy looks at me and says, and these guys are all pros. He goes, wow, that's pro video. I'm like, well, thank you. I guess I don't need anything.
Pat on the back there.
But there's a couple things. So this side over here, this guitar, you can see on the wall how it's got hard shadows on it. That's because the light is a hard light. It's not softbox. It's basically just an LED light with a gel over it. And I need to get a decent softbox light that can be gelled or that has multicolor. So there's little things that a good eye can pick out, but he's like, wow, that looks really, really good. And he's like, what camera do you use? And I'm like, I'm using a Canon T7i. He's like, shut up, really? I'm like, yeah, buddy, it's like maybe a $600 camera now, but the lens is very, very nice. But it's true, like you don't need a lot to get really good products. I do have to back up here. We're getting buried in comments. Liberty Dude, what color would she want to see you have as a temporary joke?
I don't know. I'll have to ask her. I mean, we're big fans of color in this house.
We're going to cover this next week. We're going to find out.
Yeah, exactly I will follow up, get a consult.
See, my wife wouldn't care. My wife would be like, whatever.
No, honestly, mine wouldn't care either. Like if that's what I wanted to do. But I like getting people's input on things.
Which would Dylan need it to do it. Dylan's like, that's a little different.
Yeah.
Okay. So we got nothing wrong with the SM58. It's effort, and there are so many videos in YouTube that I've just quit watching since audio was garbage, aka phone mic in a garage so bad.
Oh God, yeah.
You small and get about $1,000 better audio. Yeah, you know what? In a studio, you don't need the best of the best. You don't need and that was the whole point of the video that we did with Hurt, was that you could do, there's still a lot of expertise hidden behind that, right? Like Dylan's expertise on Hurt was something you didn't see. You didn't see all the shit that Dylan put into that. And now that you're using FabFilter, were you using FabFilter back then?
No.
No, now that Dylan's using FabFilter and all this stuff that's ridiculous, the next one's just going to be even stupider. And it's part of that you don't see. But in order to get to that point, the actual core product doesn't need to be recorded on a Neve. Like, you don't need this
Oh,
stuff.
no, we were like, I recorded it just through some, well, I say basic, but like, some Audient preamps, just the basic, no color. I like the Audient preamps because they're clear, they're clean.
Yeah.
But there's no color like API or Neve sound there. But it's, I don't know. There's a lot of it. Well, even, and the funny thing was, I just mixed that, and you'll remember this. I just mixed that, just to kind of give you a starting point. Like, hey, this is what I did with it, basically.
Yeah, and I was like, no, that
was not supposed to be the released version. and then I remember I had you over and you're like, yeah, let's just use that.
No, I said, I'm not doing better than that. So you're good. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
So we got Camille for Christmas, got me a pair of rack mountable Sennheiser EWDs with mics.
Nice.
Very, very nice. That's a nice Christmas. That's a nice Santa Claus. SR375 says always purple. Purple is a perfect color. I think I might dye my beard purple again.
I love purple. Purple things are great.
Purple hair, Dylan. And then just an effort made makes huge difference. You know what? And it's true. Like, you don't get good at something until you try doing it. Either you fail or you're not as good. So you try it again, you learn a few things. And it's always like this picking away. Like, look at any YouTube channel from day one and go throughout all the videos. And you'll see from video quality, audio quality, background quality, content quality, it's all on this upward trajectory. It never starts up here unless it's some big YouTuber that started a second channel.
To get good at any trade, you have to be okay with failure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
If you're someone that wants to go in, and I think that's the hardest part about learning anything, is that you have to be willing to be okay with being wrong sometimes. In fact, most of the time. Like Jesus, some of the stuff, if I were to show people, like when I think I was 13 and I did my first album, like kind of by myself, and it was an instrumental album. It was terrible. If like comparing it now, but like that's how I started. And then I like kind of did it, listen back to it, like, I don't like how that sounded. I don't like how that sounded. I don't like how that sounded. It's like, okay, well, how do I get it to sound better?
Yeah, like, and we've all had that, right? Those first recordings where you're like, ugh.
Yeah.
It's people don't wake up as Freddie Mercury, right? People don't wake up as Jimmy Page. You work your ass off for it. And it's all about that. It's not about anything else. It's not about like, if once you get X, you're going to be great. Like, and that I still love the video I put out about 5 musicians that created great music with cheap or free gear. Was most people are like, yeah, well, Billie Eilish, he still used like a $500 mic and an $800 interface, and it's like, yeah, that's cheap gear.
Yeah.
That's when you look at a studio. When you walk into a studio, you don't see many $500 microphones. You don't see like an $800 interface. You see like thousands upon millions of dollars in gear.
But at the same time, you go into a studio and you'll still find $100 57.
Yeah, right. That's the one.
Every recording studio in the world, doesn't matter how many C414s you have in your locker, you're gonna have 58s, 57s, even like SM7Bs are still very much a mainstay in most pro recording studios.
This one, Unleashed. My mics have such unique sound. My favorite is Soyuz 1973. On my voice, it brings the timbre. I've always wanted to try some Soyuz.
Yeah.
I've never. They're grand for the. That's not bad. A grand Canadian.
That's workable.
It's one of those like maybe I've got to meet somebody that works at Soyuz.
Right? Yeah. Maybe I got to make some contacts.
Make some contacts. Bloody Cactus got me some Mackie MC350 tracking mixing headphones. Nice. How are the Mackie headphones? I do have a contact at Mackie, but I don't want to just like ask him for gear and like all that stuff unless I'm going to be doing videos on it. And like they sent me some monitors and stuff, but I'm struggling with what to do. Headphone and monitor videos suck. But I have been looking at the Mackie headphones, wondering how good they are, considering they are kind of known for monitor stuff.
Yeah.
Something not Bear Dynamic. I do like Bear Dynamic. I almost bought the DT990s, the open back.
Yeah, what did you try? The 770s were the ones that you.
I have the 770s still. They are fantastic. The 770s. I mix or I edit podcasts with them. You can hear so much. There's so much detail in those. It's great. I'm using a Sony XLR mount for my camera connected to a Rode NTG3 for Christmas. The audio is good, but I feel it can be better. I use it only for team Zoom calls.
Sounds like me and this guy.
Yeah. Rode NTG3 is a dark mic. It definitely needs EQing. If you're going to be recording with something, like if you're doing videos and stuff like that, like this, it definitely needs some EQ in post-production. I use the MKH 416 right here. It doesn't need as much, it doesn't need very much EQ at all. I think, no, I'm not even using the EQ through the Rode X right now. So, but with the NTG3, it's a great microphone. It just needs the low needs to be brought down a bit. You need to bring up some of the highs. And it's got a little bit of mud in the mids as well. So, but otherwise, if you're doing some post or if you can get an EQ in line with that stuff, yeah. Johnny Reagan wants to know, Aiden, how are you liking StreamYard? Oh my God, I can't believe I wasn't using this before. That's how much. I love this program. I'm actually going to reach out to them to see if they want to do like any kind of like trade first, because it's an expensive use case for this thing for a year, but I really like it. Like, this is one of the best purchases I've made for this channel. And that's saying a lot, man. I've bought a lot of things for this channel.
Yep.
$100 SM58 is a fantastic mic. First mic anyone should buy. 100%. You want some headphone reviews? I struggle with headphone reviews because it's so hard, because I'm basically telling you, take my word. Like,
yeah, this is what it sounds like.
Yeah, this is good. Yeah, you should buy this one over this one. And headphones are like underwear. Headphones are so personal. I know some people that refuse to use Shure headphones. They don't like the comfort. Some people don't like the Rode NTH 100, though. Everybody I've introduced these to, like I've got a few friends that I've given these to, they all love them. They're the most comfortable headphones ever. And they're not even the lightest, that's for sure. So it's rough, hard. And I don't want to just get on there and showcase it and yeah, it feels pretty good. There's actual the things you can get to actually measure the clamping pressure of the headphones.
Oh yeah.
I think maybe once I start getting into that aspect of, oh God, you can hear my dogs in the background. That I think that would be probably a little bit better served. Daniel Gaudette got a few secondhand mics, TLM 102, an MD 441, nice, and an AT 4073 short shotgun. I think Dylan has a 4073.
Yeah,
don't you? Yeah.
Yep.
That's the short. Why don't you use that for videos, dude?
This is broken.
Got myself a second SCV7 on sale. Nice. That's actually a decent haul. 102. I wonder how much was the 102, Daniel? Let me know. Nothing wrong with Zoom calls. No, there's nothing wrong with Zoom calls. I would have to say Zoom calls with Rode NTG3 seems like quite a bit. That's a lot. I use a Rodecaster Pro 2 for Zoom. Yeah, I use this is my Zoom setup, actually. I've got a Rode Streamer X. I've got a T7i with $1,000 lens on the front of it. Yeah, I spend a lot of money on my Zoom calls as well. The day I wake up as Freddie Mercury, I know immediately too much alcohol was involved. No, man, if you can drink to the point where you're Freddie Mercury, I think I wouldn't stop drinking.
Yeah, I would just keep it up.
Keep it up. Sound pads are awesome for Zoom calls. I try not to annoy people on Zoom calls with the sound pads. Does StreamYard give you analytics yet? I don't know, actually. I haven't even looked at it. I get all my analytics through YouTube, though, because all this stuff goes through YouTube. I've thought about, because you can multi-stream with StreamYards. Like, I can stream to Twitter at the same time and all that. And cool. I might actually start doing that. I'm not yet. I haven't set it up yet. And that's going to take some time of actually sitting down and figuring things out, which I think might be worth a little bit of time to actually do that. Yeah. But I don't know how many people I'm going to get from Twitter or from what other, maybe Facebook I'd stream to. A lot of people on Facebook that don't want to see me stream. So Using underwear as headphones isn't as effective as it might sound. That is true. That might be a good video. Is it better than underwear on your head? That's and rigs to record quality from headphones. Yeah, rig to record the quality from headphones would be interesting. Like that
But
would
even
be,
then, it's kind of like, a rig to record the sound of speakers. Like,
yeah,
I feel a rig that would actually do it accurately would be so exorbitantly expensive.
yeah,
Like you'd basically have to get Neumann has a mic that's like a human head. And I would guess that would probably be the best bet would be to use a mic that simulates how the human ear works. But
yeah.
yeah,
That's one of these days, maybe if I ever get to Linus Tech Tips level, maybe.
yeah. If you can afford your own space with 20 editors working full time.
Well, he's also got an anechoic chamber now. Or I think he
Oh
was
my
building
God.
an anechoic chamber last time. Like what? Because he wants to like test the actual sound level of like graphics cards and stuff. It's like,
Okay, yeah. I mean, I guess that's. I don't know how many people care enough about it, but if he's identified a need, then I guess
right?
there's a need.
I think the need is more views. Unleashed. I like the ATM 50X headphones because they don't hurt my ears after 20 minutes. My big one has always been sweaty ears. I used to do a morning show, and these headphones wouldn't leave my head for like 5 hours. And there's something about ear sweat after about 20, 25 minutes that I hate. Like it makes your ears itchy and you're constantly like, ah. So these are the only headphones, the Rode NTH 100, the only headphones I've been able to put on. My ears do not sweat. Daniel says secondhand TLM 102, $425 US. That's not too bad, actually.
That isn't bad.
Yeah. Got a secondhand SEX 1S, the Sex 1S for 30 euros. That's Nuno. It was not working cleaning the capsule on 2 cleanings after. It sounds great. Oh, wow. So you actually cleaned the capsule. A 30 euro microphone.
Wowzers.
That's putting in the work, man.
Yeah.
That is actually a decent microphone. That the SCX 1S sounds great. Dank Pods has a rig. Not sure what that's referring to. After watching a tutorial for cleaning the capsule. That's hilarious. Yeah, do not go and clean your capsule. There is a way to do it, but I fear, and when I was talking about the Rode, the NT2A, when I was swapping the capsule and I was talking about putting a new capsule in, and you've wrecked a capsule because of all the spittle. The reason I didn't bring up people cleaning the capsule is because I knew somebody was going to try it. And if they tried it because of my advice or because I said you could do it, I would feel horrible because I would believe that 90% of the people I know.
But yeah, most of the people, you're going to do more damage to the capsule than you will get back in quality from the exercise.
Yep.
That said, if you're very competent with small electronics and you are very cautious and again, you know what you're doing, have at her. But if you're not comfortable soldering, you should not be cleaning a microphone capsule.
No. And I'm comfortable soldering. I'm not even though I get mics for free, I still wouldn't clean the capsule. I would probably bring it to somebody to do it.
Yeah. Which, I mean, why the hell not? Like there's people out there that will do that kind of stuff for you.
Yeah. The problem isn't recording the sound of headphones. The problem is like with mics, we listen to these recordings on our speaker headphones underwear. Yeah. Don't listen to anything on your underwear. Horrible feedback. Yeah. And you know what? And that is one of the other conversations, right? Is what are you getting the headphones for? Right? Like, am I going to be reviewing a $100 pair of headphones? It's not really going to. What can I say about a $100 pair of headphones? What am I going to say about a $500 pair of headphones? It's also what relative to content, what people expect, what people want to see, yeah. And then, what are you listening to? Are you listening to an MP3? How does the MP3 sound through the headphones? Okay, what am I listening to? Wave, 48 kilohertz?
There's too many variables, and also there's too much subjectivity. There is no objective. This sounds good to everybody. That doesn't exist. That is a unicorn of the audio world. Same thing with I don't know with camera gear, audio gear, any of that stuff. There's stuff that sounds good to more people than not, but there's still going to be some guy out there on Gear Space that's going to be like, no, it sounds like shit. And it's like, well,
always, every single person. SR 375. The real problem with underwear is the brown noise. It's true.
Brown noise, brown tones.
It's just this weird fluttering sound. I don't know what it is. This is just, you hear it. Oh, it smells horrible too. Here's a great question I kept getting, and I think we kind of shut down after the Rode purchase of Mackie. And I've been getting a lot of people asking questions about whether or not X is going to happen because Mackie, or from what I can tell, this comes from Unleashed Jeremy Hansen. Will Mackie still put out headphones after being bought by Rode? From what I can tell, Mackie is still going to exist as a company just underneath the umbrella of Rode's parent group. So technically, Rode and Mackie are both two companies under the group that owns them, along with Aphex and all that. So that means most of the Mackie properties are not going away. So if you have like the I was thinking like, well, the Rodecaster Pro 2 versus the Mackie DLZ Creator, one's got to go. No, I don't think they are. I think you're going to see an integration of products. So like maybe instead of Onyx, you're going to get the what do they call, the Revolution preamps from.
Well, that's usually what they do. Is the companies will combine. They'll look at, in that particular vertical, their best selling product line, whichever of the two companies happens to own it, and then whichever one is the better, they'll just integrate the feature set from the lesser successful product. But like they'll just combine shit, literally.
And it's funny too, because like when you see a company like Mackie, they're the only ones that have come close to touching Rode in this space with the DLZ Creator. They also had those other little devices, the other little interfaces, podcast interfaces that looked fantastic. Never got my hands on one. So like they're the only ones that have really been pushing the envelope with Rode. So seeing them all under the same roof, maybe we'll see more stuff kind of mixed. This also gives Rode access to the live sound stuff from Mackie, right? Like think about Mackie with the Pro FX 12 V3. Or no, Mackie with Rode with the Pro FX 12 V3, like what Rode can do with mixers and with Mackie's mixers. Like that's some cool stuff that you can combine. So I don't think anything's going away. Whether or not headphones will go away, that's a tough call. Something small with a company like Mackie, like their headphone division, which wasn't really strong to begin with. It's like Mackie's. I don't think Mackie's microphones are going to last. Like Mackie's microphones were filler microphones. I had nothing against them, but they weren't like, nobody was like, oh, I got to get the new Mackie microphone, right?
No.
So I don't think those are going to last very long. However, you don't know. We'll see what happens as time comes. I do love this Liberty Dude. I love the YouTube video where a guy cleaned his NT1 capsule. So funny when he figured out that all the dirt was the gold sputtering on the capsule. If you got underneath the actual, the diaphragm, Dylan, your face is perfect for that. Was he scratching it away?
I cringe. Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, it's like a micron thick, right? Like, yeah, that's not a good idea.
Yeah. I hope they unify networking, audio trunking on Mackie Rode. There's so much they can do with it, man. There's so much they can do with it. And then I'm a huge fan of open sourcing audio standards on Ethernet Wi-Fi. Open sourcing audio standards, I don't know if that's something they'll be doing, but everyone likes to have their own fingerprint on stuff. Open sourcing, probably not. But I don't know. I think the Rode Mackie thing will be very, very interesting going forward. And I think if you do own a Mackie, there's no concern that you're losing anything. I contacted Rode just to clarify, because I have had contacts with Mackie. That's why I've got the DLZ Creator. And of course I have my contacts with Rode. So I just contacted my contact at Rode and said, am I still talking to the same people? And he clarified that yes, it was the same people that I would be talking with at Mackie as before. So it wasn't like they came in, cleaned house, and just took over the product or turned them into a virtual parking lot or anything like that. So it is nice to see Mackie continue on. That name is legendary when it comes to a lot of things. Like especially like 5 years ago, I remember the way to describe a Mackie mixer was like a tank, because they were built like tanks.
Built like a brick shit house. Yeah.
Oh, it was weird. You just went all weird and robot-y. Stupid.
Just dirty switch.
Dirty switch.
Dirty.
Switch.
I love that you had the spank sound, and yeah, that works. That's perfect.
Do I have a spank?
That said.
No, I got that said
Button.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, I got.
What is happening?
I'm just playing with some buttons. I forgot what I've got set up on here. I don't know. I don't even know what I got set up on the buttons on the Streamer X anymore. Man, I grew up on Mackie VLZ. I never played with Mackie VLZ.
I've got one right beside me.
Yeah, I had the Pro FX lineup, which I loved. Their lack of willingness to put out proper multi-track drivers annoyed the hell out of me. And it was just like a year ago where they actually released multi-track drivers for everything. So they had multi-track drivers.
So here's why that doesn't make sense to me. Let's walk through this. So software cannot compensate for lack of functionality within hardware. So for example, if those Mackie boards like the Pro FX 12, I know for a fact that Pro FX 12, because I've looked up the part number for it because it broke on mine. Those Pro FX 12s, they have a 2-channel converter in them.
Yeah, no, the new ones I'm talking, the V3s.
And so
not the older ones. Yeah.
So obviously it wouldn't work for literally everything, but anything in the new lineup that would have presumably multi-track converters. Because you could update you could update the driver, and if there aren't more than 2 channels accessible to the computer, then
But then at the same time, though, like with some of the newer stuff, when you were to buy a board like the Mackie Pro FX series, I bought the 12V2, which was just 2 converters out. And I remember thinking, God, if this thing had multi-track functionality, it would have been perfect. Like that's all I wanted from it. Mm-hmm. And when I returned it and I got the Pro FX, or not the Pro FX, the PreSonus AR8, which is the one that ended up blowing up on me. But knowing that you can go and buy a Mackie board, the Pro FX 12V2 for, I think they're $250 US, and you can get the 12 channel with multi-track functionality for that little money. That is ridiculous. That's something that the world needed 5 years ago.
Yep.
The cheapest board you could get with multi-track functionality was the PreSonus AR8. And I've never had a good relationship with PreSonus, to say the least. So it's nice to see that stuff kind of happening.
Me neither. Honestly, PreSonus, I have a few PreSonus products. None of them I use on a regular basis. In fact, one of them is, I don't even think there's a power supply connected to it anymore because I just couldn't spare the outlet for something I never use. Just the quality control just isn't there. The products are designed well, they sound good, but the failure rate is, the only company that I've found that has a failure rate worse than PreSonus was ART.
Yeah.
ART's failure rate, with the exception of one, almost every product that I purchased from ART, earlier in my career would fail within a year.
Yeah.
And so that's not a great investment.
I wanted to buy one of their channel strips, and I'm like, well, if they're failing after a year.
Well, actually, sorry, not every product, because I have now, mind you, this needs some work on it because it's all unbalanced. But I got a 2-channel tube compressor, the Pro VLA2.
Yeah, that's what I was going to get.
Yeah, and it's a good piece. Like even my buddy was looking for like a good kind of cheap mastering compressor, and I was like, this thing I would recommend for that because number one, it's got all 3 of your meters. It's got your gain reduction, input, and output at the same time on the front. There's not a ton of hardware compressors you're going to find with all 3 of those things at the same time. And it can be very transparent and also kind of get an opto, like a photoresistor compressor sound, which is kind of neat. And it doesn't break the bank. It's like $300.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm trying to figure out what Arcturus is. I got an Arcturus Minimal 3 and a mic audio interface and a ukulele. Kid that has ADHD. I don't know what an Arcturus is. Is that like a keyboard or something, or I don't know.
Arcturus. I know that the name is familiar. I just don't know.
Yeah, it's the 4th brightest star in the night sky. It's a brand, but a brand of what? I even when you Google it, it doesn't come up. Anyways, that's cool. The ukulele, especially. Everyone's like snapping upstairs. For me, it was the 3204 VLZ4. Yeah, that was the 32 channel, if I recall. That one was a beast. I knew churches that had that, which was absolutely ridiculous.
They're well made, and again, they last forever. This VLZ, I've got a 1642 VLZ3 beside me. That actually, this RE27 is running through it right now, and that is the switch that is sticky.
But you could probably like brush that with a wire.
Like if I could find, I have some deoxit somewhere, and if I just spritzed a little bit of that under the switch, it would probably work fine. Because that's the thing
have deoxit.
Is the boards. I mean, yeah, it could probably, stand to be recapped, but honestly, if it comes down to that, I'll just get a new VLZ 1642. But it works fine. And as just a non-mission critical, just throw some signals around, because basically the way and I think I've described this to you before, Aiden, but I've got 16 inputs on my converters, and 8 of the inputs are coming from the Mackie, and so are sort of routable, and they're for more or less sandboxing. And then the other 8 inputs go into like premium outboard pre's, and which includes the set of Neves. So those I use for actual good recording stuff. But for this, like, I don't know if I need to record the output of an iPod or something, which you never know. Working in broadcast, you got to record weird things sometimes.
Right. Me too. I love this SR375. It was for church work, quote unquote. And no, I'm an atheist now. I used to work. I did some work for churches. I grew up in the church. I'm not.
Me too.
Part of it, but it was we used to work for a Pentecostal church. My mom used to clean for them, and I used to run around and get into a lot of trouble there with the pastor's wife, or no, pastor's daughter. Sorry. I was young. But I remember they had the 32 channel. They had the 3204 VLZ4. And that was like, it was ridiculous because it was a massive church and they had like this massive sound system. And I still remember playing with that bloody thing. They had presets and everything was taped off. And I was like breaking the tape and playing with it because they would have to like put tape over the channels so people wouldn't mess with the levels.
Oh, yeah.
Know your levels every week, you losers. Come on.
Yeah, I know churches definitely like the set it and forget it mentality.
Yeah, but then you get somebody new at the mic who's like slamming on the mic. They're like, does this thing work?
Yeah, or they're popping their P's like crazy. And you had some guy that was on it before that had a nice beat, had a really pointy voice. So you cranked the low end to make him sound fuller. And then somebody's like,
good times. All right, guys. Good first stream back. Thanks for joining us. I appreciate it. I'm gonna go find out what all the hubbub is upstairs.
Yeah.
There's everyone yelling. The dogs are barking. All that fun stuff. You guys have yourself a great week. It's good to be back. 2024. We'll see you next weekend. Cheers.
Cheers.